guys, you're welcome back to my channel. Today with me is my sister from the continent of Africa. Her name is Essy Natukunda. She
Yeah.
is also a YouTuber like me. She has her own channel here on YouTube, and I've been watching most of her videos. I also follow her on Instagram. She normally discusses on her YouTube channel topics surrounding Africa and things
Mm.
like that. So you guys can go check her out on her channel. Her name is Essy Natukunda. Essie, you're
Yes.
welcome to my channel. Please introduce yourself to my audience.
Thank you so much, Moody. Hi, guys. My name is Natkunda Esther, aka Essy Natkunda, here on YouTube. I'm a Ugandan content creator slash actress, and I'm excited to be here. Yes, it's my first time going live as well.
Yeah, and so far it seems like I'm streaming to myself because I don't have any audience yet.
It's
So,
okay
but that's not
now.
gonna make me stop. Yeah, that wouldn't
Yeah.
make me stop. I still have to have this conversation because it's really
Yes.
important. And the reason I wanted to do this today is because some of my viewers, when I make videos talking about issues that are affecting Africans, they seem to have a very contrasting opinion to mine. So I was
Yeah.
like, if I'm going to go live today so we can talk about this, if some of them happen to be here, they can share their opinion, maybe say one or two things if the opportunity, persists. So that's why I'm
Yeah.
having this discussion today. So the topic we're going to be talking about is just like what I wrote on the title: is colonization the reason for the
Mm.
underdevelopment of Africa? Because
Mm.
I wouldn't call it, I wouldn't say, I wanted to put the topic in a way that to make it look like Africa is poor or
Yeah.
impoverished. I didn't,
Yeah.
that, it was like, is colonization the reason for Africa's impoverishment? But on second thought, I was like, no, Africa is not poor. Africa is rich. It has a lot of
Yeah.
resources. Africa has the manpower. Africa has the mineral resources, everything.
Yeah.
The only thing is that it's being mismanaged. So that was why I phrased the title that way. Is colonization the reason for Africa's underdevelopment? Because even though Africa is rich, Africa is largely underdeveloped as compared to
Yeah.
other countries of the world. Because even if you go
Mm.
online and you search the top 5, top 10, top 15, top 20 most impoverished countries, most poor countries in the world, Africa is going to be filled. Like you're gonna see like so many countries from Africa. Why
Yeah.
is that the issue? When you ask
Yeah.
so many people, when you read some books, when you even go
Mm.
online to search for the reason for this, when you watch so many other content creators, everybody is
Yeah.
pointing at the white man for the reason that Africa is in the state that it is today. So many people are saying that the
Mm.
white man is the reason that Africa is so impoverished, Africa is so underdeveloped. So many people will
Yeah.
give you sightings of where white people are in Zimbabwe taking over
Yes.
works that were meant for Zimbabweans. They will tell
Yeah.
you that white people are going to Zimbabwe and they are taking the jobs and they are making themselves rich, and Zimbabweans
Mm.
are living in poverty. So I'm asking,
Mm.
is colonization, or is white people, or is even like foreign people, you can even include the Chinese or people from France, are
Yes.
they the reason Africa is underdeveloped today? How would you answer that question?
Ladies and gentlemen, I really have mixed feelings about this topic. I see a lot of content creators talk about it, most especially my friend Agire. She talks about it a lot. And I want to say hello, Enzo the God. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, in my point of view, we are living in 2024, and a lot of people might find me insensitive. People be like, Esther, no, you are insensitive because
Yeah.
we need to agree as African people, as Black people, that white people are our problem. They have always been, they are now, and they'll always be. And then I keep on asking myself, until when are we going to cry that white people are our problem? Let's be honest. Let's be honest, Moody.
Yeah.
Nigeria, Nigeria, I think it's between Nigeria and South Africa, one of the two. They are the superpowers of Africa, right? And right now, you're gonna
Nigeria,
tell me,
Nigeria Excuse me,
eh?
Nigeria is not the superpower of Africa. In what way? Nigeria is just the giant of Africa in terms of population. But when it comes to economy and development, Nigeria is way back. You have bigger countries. Of course, you have better countries in Africa, like you have Egypt that is doing so well. Don't you know?
Yeah,
And Nigeria
yeah.
has the population. It has the population, but not the
Mm,
economic development. It doesn't have the
mm,
economic development. South Africa is doing better, is doing good a bit, and I believe that the reason that South Africa is um prospering is because of the presence of the white people there. This is my honest opinion, and I have facts to back it up. Yeah,
I
if
think
South
so.
Africa, of course,
I think so too. I think so too.
if,
But for the
if
people that I hear, for the people that I hear, I think people might get confused that you guys are supposed to be pro-African. I am pro-African. However, I am pro-reality and truth. Right?
of course,
I lived in South
yeah,
Africa for 6 years. And trust me, there is a difference between places where white people live and black people. And people might say, no, because of apartheid, because white people, they enslaved the black people into living in such communities. Let me tell you, black people, I feel like we have victimized ourselves too much to even stay in some situation. Like Africa right now, I cannot say that the problem is white people. Let's be honest. This is why I don't support the entire notion of canceling France or canceling Israel when it comes to what's happening in DRC Congo. Have you ever seen a white person holding a firearm in Congo? Have you? It's us fellow black people, and I just don't like it when us black people we jump to blame the whites instead of first tackling our problems. Like right now, why is Nigeria not developed? Isn't Nigeria a rich country? Doesn't it have minerals? It has
of course
minerals
it
more than.
does.
Oh, I mean, in my country, apparently we have gold, but look at us. We are a third world country. How am I supposed to blame white people for that? I have to blame the management. I have to blame the African presidents that are selfish because I feel like black people we are so selfish when you see something that is going to make fellow people rich, you want to keep it for yourself.
Exactly,
Mm,
exactly. Yeah, for me, you're so on point there. I don't want people watching this live to think that maybe I don't like my country, Africa, my continent, Africa, or I don't like the fact that I'm from Africa. That is so far
mm,
from the truth.
yeah,
What I'm trying to do is to make sure that we Africans have this important conversation, that we come
yeah,
together and we talk about these issues, and we stop this victim mentality. We stop playing this blame game of trying to blame white people for everything that goes wrong in our
yeah,
life, or for everything that
mm,
happens in Africa. Okay, if you're saying that colonization, I know that's one way you say, but for people that are taking that stance that colonization is the reason that Africa is impoverished today, we will
mm,
check out other countries. There were so many countries in the history of colonization that were colonized. It wasn't just African countries. The reason that
yes,
it seems as if Africa is the only continent that was colonized was because Africa was among the late continents, or places that were colonized. When you talk about colonization,
mm,
you look into colonization, you get to know that so many places on this earth were colonized, but today they are doing well. If you look at so many small countries like Singapore, Singapore used
Singapore.
to be like a very dilapidated country, a country that was having a very shitty economy and
Yeah,
stuff like that. But today, Singapore is like is a leading world economy today, and that is why
yeah.
some places, some African countries that are adopting the pattern of Singapore are beginning to see themselves succeed economically. Countries like Rwanda.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why
Yes.
of course, that's why what's that his name? Paul Kagame, the president of
Kagame.
Rwanda, he said
Yeah.
he's going to make Rwanda to be the Singapore of Africa,
Of
right? He's
Africa.
just like taking the blueprint of the Singaporean economy, establishing it
Mm.
in Rwanda. He's following their footsteps, and then we are seeing the change. Rwanda is doing so well. If you're in
Yeah.
Rwanda now, from 1 year to 12 years, your education is for free in Rwanda. Before, the life expectancy in Rwanda used to be, I think, 46 years old as of, I think,
Mm.
1994. But before the year 2012, it increased to, I think, 67 years life
Mm.
expectancy. Okay, they are doing so well. I think
Yeah.
the country even lifted up to 1 million people out of poverty. Here in my country, in so many countries in Africa, when they tell you they are lifting people out of poverty, what they mean is they're going to take maybe they will bring out 1 million people and they will share amongst them. For Nigeria, they will share amongst them maybe 5,000 naira for Nigeria. And if you convert 5,000 naira, it's not up to $4. And that is
Yeah.
how you lift people out of poverty. That is not how you lift people out of
Yeah.
poverty. The problem we are having is not just the white men, it's not just these Asians that are coming into Africa. The Asians that are coming
Mm.
into Africa are coming to do business, just like every other person. If you check
Yes.
out, okay, for instance, in the beginning, I talked about the Zimbabweans now. These white people that are going into Zimbabwe and they are, kind of getting rich and they are investing and they are living life larger than the original owners of the country. They are not
Yeah.
killing Zimbabweans there. They are not exploiting people, if you ask me. What they are doing is what every single African person in diaspora is doing. You are going to these
Yes.
foreign countries to search for a better living, for greener pastures. And when you get there,
Mm.
you do the work you can do just to better your life. And
Yeah.
if you check it out, in most cases, these diaspora, these African diasporans are not even living large. They're just managing. They are living from hand to mouth. But we in
Yes.
Africa, we think that they are doing so well. So these white people, they go to places like Zimbabwe. They use their hard-earned money that they've earned in their white countries, and then they invest it in
Mm.
Zimbabwe. And then when they start reaping the fruits of their labor, Zimbabweans are gonna get angry and be like, "You came to our country and you stole our jobs and you did this and you did that."
Yes.
you know,
And
the white people are
and
not the problem.
the parts that I really don't understand. I think when people say that white people are the reason why we are so behind, laugh with more. Thank you so much for saying that conversation. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been to Zimbabwe before, and let me tell you, Zimbabwe and Uganda. Yeah, yeah. I would say almost same WhatsApp group, but I feel like Zimbabwe is even worse than us. And you know what? I always ask myself, Zimbabwe has minerals. I believe Zimbabwe has minerals more than Uganda because white
Of
people go
course.
there to mine the gold. Now, white people, I feel like white people, and again, guys, we are not siding with white people. It's just that we're having these conversations as Africans to find solutions for ourselves and stop the blame game so that we can be holding ourselves accountable. White people, when they take their money that they've brought from the Europe and then they bring to Africa, they know for sure if they bring any amount of money to the leaders of Africa, they will act like a hungry dog.
Mhm.
They will be quick to sell out their country for petty cash. That's what African leaders know how to do best. That is why they will take the money, they will eat it, and then their country people they will not gain because they are looking
So,
at their stomachs and their wallets. So when white people come
Etty,
here, yeah,
I want to ask you just one question because I've been getting
mm,
this mixed up in my head. So many times I hear people telling me that there is no way that white people are not kind of exploiting Africa in one way or the other. I want to know from your own point of view, how
mm,
do you think white people are exploiting Africa? How, in what ways? Like, is there any way that white people are exploiting Africa currently? I'm not talking about the colonization that happened years ago. I'm talking about currently.
yes.
How are white people exploiting Africa? And how is that keeping Africa underdeveloped?
The only way I would think white people are exploiting Africa is them being so smart to leech on the ignorance of African leaders or the greediness of African leaders. That is the only way they can take advantage. Let me tell you, Moody, a white person cannot fly from the sky and then they tell you get off your land. There is a gold mine here and it belongs to you. Get off. No, they don't do that. So how do they exploit Africa? There's a chief in your village. They will go to the minister when the minister knows there is land here. The minister of land knows there is land that has goodies here. They don't know how to get you off. And then they will bribe your chief, and then your chief and his neighbors they will do some atrocities, and then they take you off, and then they sell the land. So
Mhm.
I feel like this is how the only way I can think that white people are exploiting Africa, which is them being smart and using their knowledge and knowing very well. An African person will sell out their country for pennies.
Mm.
Ah,
Thank you for that contribution. Please, if you're watching this live and maybe in the comment section you think that there's a
yeah.
way that white people are exploiting Africa currently today, please, I want to hear that. I want to hear that
Mm.
because I don't know. We are always blaming these white people. They are the reason that we
Yeah.
are doing this today. They are the reason this is happening. We tell them go
Mm.
back to your country. We tell them leave Africa. We tell them do this and do that. There were people I saw online. They were making videos and they were saying that Chinese people are trying to overthrow Africa. That they are trying to take over every places in Africa. That they are trying to exploit Africa. That China is now the new Britain of Africa. China is now the new America of Africa. China is doing this and China is doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do these people reason? How do these people reason? Like China wouldn't
Yeah.
just come all the way from China and just come to Nigeria or come to Uganda or come to Kenya or come to Zimbabwe and take over places there. No, that's not what happens. What happens is that China is working for the interest of Chinese people. China is trying to make Chinese people comfortable. China doesn't have much resources, but they are going to people, Africa, that has the resources, and then they are going
Yeah.
with their hard-earned money. They're going with their money,
Mm.
and then when they get there, they are doing like what we call trade by barter. They'll be like, I give you money, then you
Yes.
give me these resources. Okay. When
Yes.
China gets to any African country, okay, they pay to mine maybe a particular mineral there. They pay, they obtain certificates that allow them to do this legally. They don't just go there and they
Mm.
overtake it. No person can go to
Yes.
any country today in this 21st century and just take things by force. There's going to be a war. It's not going to happen.
Yes.
So when China goes to any place in Africa, they are paying money and then they are
Yeah.
doing business. And then you think that they are just taking your minerals for free. That's not what is happening. What happens is that when
Yeah.
they pay this money, instead of our leaders to use it and make things good, instead of our leaders to use it and work and make our country to be developed, they stuff it in their personal pockets, and then China does their business honestly, and then they take these minerals and they go back and they have electricity, uninterruptible
Yeah.
electricity, and we that have those resources, we don't even have electricity. See how I'm sweating like a
Exactly.
he goat? I'm sweating, but people that don't even have these resources, they are living large. I mean,
They're living
check
in
check it out.
SP.
And sometimes when Chinese come to African countries, they don't just sometimes they don't come to take anything. They're just on their own. And some of these African countries will run to them and say, "Oh, can you please borrow us this amount of money? We need money to do this and do that." And China is gonna
Mm.
be like, because China is not a
Yes.
fool. China is just looking for
Yeah.
the best interest of these people. They don't actually care about people. They don't actually care about Africans. They only care about Chinese, and it's not bad. That is good. Okay, they
Yes.
now be like, okay, if you want me to lend you this amount of money, if you want me to do this for you,
Yeah.
then you are going to pay me back in so and so time. And then these African countries will be like, yo, I'll pay you back. And then China will
You
be
know?
like, wait. If
Yes.
even if
You,
even if you're gonna pay me, I need to see proof that if you don't pay me, this is what I'm gonna collect. Okay, this
you
is
know what
collateral.
happened?
For if you don't
You
pay
know
me,
what
I'm keeping
happened in my
this.
country, Uganda?
I had to
Hey,
take over the Entebbe airport.
you know the airport
I went to
belongs to
report this
China.
on the devil. This is
Our president,
serious.
he asked for some loans and then whatever he did with the money. And African presidents, they have a habit. They only do something good for their country people when it's time for elections. So,
Thank you. Exactly.
so when they get like 100% of the money, they will eat. They will be taking their side chicks to Dubai, to
Mm-hmm.
Paris, doing the most, and buying land and buying mansions. And then when it comes to time for the elections, they spend like 20% of the money that they got from the investors or the Chinese people or the Europeans. And then they will do something for the community. And that's the bare minimum that the African people have to hang on until the next 5 years of election. Now, whatever our president did or whatever our government did, and then China wakes up and they say, okay, you can pay us. We want the airport because they signed away our airport as collateral. So now
Of
we
course.
it's Entebbe Airport, but initially it belongs to the Chinese until they redeem it out. So imagine how much money must these Chinese people must have brought into the country, must have given the presidents or the leaders for it to be enough for the airport to be collateral, an international airport of an entire country to be collateral. That means it's a lot of money. But do African leaders ever come out and they said, you know what, we did this with the money? No, no. When you look at countries like Singapore, like you said, I mean, when did Singapore get independence? Singapore was being colonized by the Chinese and the British at the same time. Look at where they are. Look at Japan. Yeah, they were being tortured by by the Chinese. You know, I look at my country, Uganda. My country, Uganda, this year we're going to make how many years of independence? 64 years of independence. And a country like UAE, you know how nice UAE is.
A
You know
barren
how
land,
nice.
a barren land. UAE was literally a barren land, just sand, full of sand, rubbish, and they made it
Imagine
so prosperous.
Imagine us Africans, and I must say, us Ugandans, we go to the UAE to be slaves, to be Kadama's housemaids, sweepers on the streets. And this
Ah,
is a country, ladies and UAE. When the last time I was in the UAE, which was last year, they celebrated 50 years of independence. They celebrated 50 years of independence from the white people. My country has
ah,
had independence for 63 years. And my country, Uganda, once they looked at UAE and they're like, yo, Sopwa. Uganda once
yes,
fed the UAE. Now the UAE
yes,
takes Ugandans from Uganda to be slaves. Are we still
yes.
blaming white people for that? Yeah.
Let's talk about African countries that were never colonized. They were never so there's no excuse here. Okay, you will not say, okay, my problem, the reason I'm poor, the reason I'm underdeveloped is because they colonized. What about Ethiopia?
Ethiopia.
What? Nobody colonized them. How
You know,
rich are they today?
you know
Nobody, nobody.
when we are studying,
You know something.
yeah.
When I was young, because we're Catholics, okay, and we normally attend these block rosaries. So when we go for these rosary prayers in the evening,
Mm.
okay, they always tell us to pray for Russia. Then I was like, let's say 7 years or 8 years. I was so small, but it was ingrained in my head.
You have to pray for Russia. Oh my goodness. Her internet is frozen. But yes, guys, I'll keep on until she comes back. Imagine being young and then you're being told to pray for a certain country. Yeah. So for us as Ugandans, when we were growing up, we were studying about how Ethiopia is like the superpower of Africa because Ethiopia was never colonized. The horn of Africa, Ethiopia. Oh my goodness, the golden child of Ethiopia. Because of its mountainous hills, you're back. I was keeping the conversation about Ethiopia, how they
Yeah,
teach us
thank
in
you.
school to glorify Ethiopia because it was never colonized. Go ahead.
Okay, now when we were little, they used to tell us in church to pray for Russia, and that was because Russia was having a war then. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So Russia was warring with, I don't know the country then, but they were fighting for land. And today,
Yeah.
when you look
Mm.
at Russia, Russia has come a long way. Russia is very prosperous. Russia has a nice economy. Russia is
Yeah.
even dragging world power with US and China. Russia is doing
Yeah.
so well. And even currently today, Russia is even having another war with another country, Ukraine. And that doesn't stop
Yes.
Russia but from
Yeah.
prospering. That doesn't stop Russia from being economically dependent on its own. Russia is doing so well that you would not even know that Russia has gone through so many major wars in history. But
Yeah.
us African countries, we were
Mm.
colonized, and colonization happened to almost every country. I think on Earth you have only like 10 countries that were never colonized.
Yeah.
Almost every single country on Earth was colonized. Okay, it is not like as if it was only Africa that was colonized.
Yeah.
Almost every country was colonized, but that is the only excuse we use for the way things are being done in our country. Okay.
Mm.
Now, if you check, the origin of this excuse didn't just come from the masses, from the citizens. No, it came from people at the top. It came from the
Yeah.
politician, from the leaders. Because when they misuse this money and then they don't know what to say, when they go on press conferences to discuss, they will tell you that the white people are pulling us down. There are laws and reforms that don't allow us to, spread our wings and fly. They will try to give you excuses.
Yes.
These our leaders. They have their children studying abroad. They don't, um, have their medical attention here in the country. They go for
No.
medical tourism. They
Mm.
take money out of the African land and they keep it in their Swiss bank accounts abroad. They buy
Yeah.
properties in Dubai. They've
Mm,
none of their most of their close family members are living abroad. They are using the money they make in Africa and they are spending it somewhere else abroad. That
yeah,
is why they don't care. That is why it is easy for them to use a national asset like an airport or something like that, and they will use it to pledge as collateral to China and say,
yeah.
if I don't pay you, just take this because it's not their problem. At the end of the day, they're
Mm,
going to be living good, they're going to be living large, their family is well
mm,
off. So they don't even
mm.
care if they sell off any kind of one day. I'm thinking that one day a particular maybe president in any African country might even sell the whole country because he doesn't care. I'm telling you the fact. And at the end of the
Yeah,
day, they would tell you that America, that France. Do you know how France is controlling our leaders? Do you know how
yeah,
France is puppeteering our? How is France controlling your leaders? How?
yeah.
How?
How?
Do you even understand? Okay, as you are now, you are in Uganda.
Yes.
For me as a Nigerian to travel to Uganda, I have to go get a visa. And even with the visa, okay, I still have to go through so many hassles and bustles on the
Yes.
airport. But a white person with their American visa
Oh,
or
darling.
with their France visa, they will not have any hassles. The
You
immigration
know?
officer will be so well to see them, will be so happy to see them,
Yes.
and they will pass without any hustle or bustle. But for me, an
Yeah.
African, I'm going from Nigeria to Ghana, I have to get a visa. And we are also,
Imagine.
even countries that are in ECOWAS countries or countries that are in
Yes.
African Union and all the rest of them.
Mm.
African Union is just a label that is useless. I still have to get
It's
my
useless.
visa. And at the end of the day, you will turn back and you will tell me that colonization is the reason that we are here today. Who is making that argument?
You know,
Colonization put us here. Colonization is the reason. If you go to sorry, I see. If you go to let's say you go to America and you listen
yeah,
to when they're having their campaign promises, maybe when they're having their elections and the president and people are coming up to give you their manifesto, they will not
yeah,
give you things like I'm going to build road, I'm going to build hospitals, I'm going to build electricity. They give you other, second like things that are so secondary that you as a
yes,
normal citizen will not even understand. They will start talking about reforms, maybe gun control. They're talking about police brutality, but in Africa, the only thing they will tell you is I will give you uninterruptible power supply. They are telling you that they're going to give you free education. They're telling you that they're going to give you good roads, good hospitals. We are at the
mm,
bottom, like at the bottom. They have been doing this for more than 70 years. So many African
mm,
countries are up to 70 years today, 60 years. They've been doing this for long. They come and they promise you they will give you electricity, they will give you road, they will give you. These are basic things. Like we are
yes,
living like animals. These are basic things that every single person should have, but they give it to you as promises, and at the end of the day, they don't deliver. Okay, but when you go to other countries, nobody's talking about all these things because they have it. They
no,
have good roads, they have good electricity, they have good hospitals, they have good education systems. All these things have
yeah,
been put in place.
mm,
But this is still what we are discussing here in Africa. We are still talking about stupid things like giving
yeah,
you. It just
water,
doesn't make sense. I refuse to believe that the white man is the reason that we are where we are today. I know that
yeah,
they are not the reason. They're not putting us down in any way.
yeah,
Sometimes you see people, they talk about the fact that so many Africans are leaving the African continent and they are going to
mm,
Europe and Asia and America, and I'm like, why wouldn't they
mm,
go there? Why wouldn't they go
yeah,
there? They're searching for greener pastures. If you're a doctor
exactly,
here in Africa, you get paid half what you get paid, like one third of what you get paid outside of the borders of your country. Okay,
yeah,
they're making life unpalatable for people here.
yeah.
That is why you
You
see
know, in my country, Uganda, for if I'm to count like in US dollars, in my country, Uganda, 1 million Ugandan shillings is $300. You know, that is what a nurse makes in my country.
that is so
$300
sad.
a month, ladies and gentlemen. And that's like some random change someone who works at Target can make per hour
I'm
in a
telling you.
day.
I'm telling you. There was one time the first lady of our country, that is, she was talking about that Nigerian, because I'm Nigerian, in case you don't know, that Nigerians that they are kind of being stupid, I guess. That the jobs they refuse to do here in their home country, they go abroad and they do that same job. You will see
Yeah.
a graduate that refuse to drive a cab, But when that
Mm.
graduate gets abroad, that graduate is driving a cab and doing all these menial jobs. And she was trying to use it to justify the fact that we should not be leaving our country. We should
Yeah.
stay here and rot or something like that. And I was looking at her and I'm wondering, how much do you think cab drivers earn in Nigeria? How much? Then how much do
Mm.
you think cab drivers earn overseas? Compare it is not the same thing. And I know so
Yeah.
many people are going to be like, okay, even those cab drivers, even though they are earning so much, better than people in Africa
Mm.
overseas, they're still going to spend it maybe for paying bills or for this or for that. Yes, even
Yeah.
if that cab driver is paying bills overseas, right? That cab
Yes.
driver gets to live in a very conducive and healthy environment.
Yeah.
Right? That cab driver gets to eat food that are very fresh and
Yeah.
green and clean. Okay, I know that Africa we
Mm.
produce good food too.
Yes.
Africa produces fresh food, but when you go to the market, you find out that what so many Africans are eating are not the
Yeah.
good products. We are eating the rotten ones. You go to the market and you see Africans that are buying rotten tomato. I don't know if that happens in your place, but in
It
Nigeria,
does
when you go to
happen
the
here as
market,
well.
the open market, I'm not talking about supermarket, the open market,
Mm.
there are people that go, they price rotten tomatoes, maybe rotten peppers,
Because
things that are
it's
not that
cheaper.
good because it's cheap and they buy it. The people that buy
Yes.
those good, clean products are people with money. And that's how it
Yeah.
happens. But overseas, in Europe and other places, even
It's
if
like
you're poor,
normal. It's like all of you live the status as
yes,
Yeah,
even
you
if
eat
you're
the
earning
same thing,
small
you
money,
buy
you
the
get to
same
eat
thing.
good. Exactly, exactly. This is because
You
of
know,
the reforms.
yes. My I remember I think it was 2022. I was in Dubai by that time. And the the first son in my country, the first son, he said, because by that time that year, there were so many Ugandans that were being brought back in caskets from
Yeah,
the Gulf countries, from Saudi Arabia, from,
yeah,
Qatar.
because they were
Yeah.
being enslaved. They were being enslaved.
Yes. Yeah.
Ah,
And because the Arabs, they really do be mistreating the Africans, and then they will use them for like weird things, or sometimes they cut them and take their old guns, because sometimes also Africans, they are like very, I think, naive. But the first son, he went to Twitter and he said, you know what? I really don't understand why these boys and girls, they go to the Gulf to be housemaids and cleaners, and they're cleaning
hmm,
jobs in Uganda. You know, uh, for people that don't know, oh, now I should talk about this on my channel. My first job in my entire life, I was a housemaid. And I was a housemaid until I was the age of 16. And then I
oh
decided
my
to go to
God.
Kenya. But the money I used to get as a housemaid is 50,000 Ugandan shillings by that time.
Yeah.
Now, the money a housemaid makes is like maximum, I would say, 150 Ugandan shillings, right? And that
Mhm.
is, and that is, how many? 150 Ugandan shillings is how much in dollars? Because right now a dollar is nearly 4,000 Ugandan shillings. So I will say a cleaning job in Uganda is like maximum $20 a month. A month. That's like a super chat, ladies and gentlemen. $20 a month. That is what a housemaid makes here in Uganda a month, and that's their salary. And in the UAE, the bare minimum, or in the Gulf countries, the minimum a cleaner makes is 300 US dollars in the Gulf. And I found this man to be so insensitive that, excuse moi, does the cleaning in your house, the people that clean the roads, and in Africa, because we believe in witchcraft a lot, even the people that clean the streets that work for Kampala City Council, they even be bewitching each other to fight for that cleaning job, the sweeping job on the streets. And the African
Honestly,
leaders, they're so insensitive, and you're like, are you guys kidding me? That means
I'm trying
you
to.
don't know nothing about your country people. You don't care about your people. You don't even care what goes on into their daily life. But you're just there on Twitter saying they are cleaning jobs here. Why are they going to look for cleaning jobs?
Yeah, and I know that the leaders are doing so much these days, especially the African leaders. But the fact
Mm.
is, after blaming the leaders for their corruption, after blaming them for their lack of know-how, because I understand that so many of them don't actually know how to run the country. They're only
Yes.
pretending. They don't know. They don't
Mm.
have the knowledge on how to actually run the
Yeah.
country, right?
And also,
Another problem is,
yeah,
yeah,
I was saying that
I think
also,
so.
apart from our leaders not being knowledgeable on how to manage a country, that goes down to even us, the people. You know, as African people, majority
Yeah,
of the
that's
times,
what I'm
we
trying to
vote
say.
according to our feelings and tribe, not because someone
I'm
qualifies,
telling you. That was where
but
I was going to now because we are also to be blamed. We are to be blamed.
yeah,
We are to be blamed because at the end of the day, we are the people. We are the people that are kind of electing these people into office. Number
yeah,
one, we don't do our research before we elect people. We only elect people because we know or we found out that people we like are supporting that same people, and then we just elect those people. And again, we also elect people because they are from our tribe, they are from our
yeah,
state. You get this is
mm,
just I don't know if I would say it is identity voting or something like that. I'm electing this person because he's from my place, and if he's from my place, I'm going to take pride in the fact that he's the governor, he's the president and stuff. We don't do research. Most people don't even know like the people they are supporting, where they are from. Some don't know where they attended school. Some don't know what they
yeah,
read in school. Some don't know their qualifications. Some didn't even do the job of getting into these people's life and finding out if they have ever held any public office, and if they did hold any public office, how did they do? How did they perform? Were they good? Did they do what they're supposed to do? Or were they just sitting there and embezzling funds and eating money and stuff like that? We just don't care.
mm,
What we know is sometimes we are even express a kind of apathy. We are, all this political apathy. We don't
yes,
actually, vote. We just sit down in our house, and at the end of the day, people that voted, we go and make one stupid decision for us, and then we come back and we are like, okay, is he the president? Okay, no problem. It's none of my business. So people tell you that voting politics is not their business. They don't care. But at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones facing the consequences of that thing they are saying that is not their business. We are also to be blamed. That's what I would say.
mm,
We have to be blamed. Yeah. The
yes,
fault, the fault is like the fault revolves around Africans mostly. I'm not going to invite or involve any white person into the problem that we are having in Africa currently. If it was before, let's say 60 years ago, I would tell you, yes,
yeah,
these people are colonizing us. You have to leave us. Go, leave us to make our own decisions. But today, I'm not even inviting them. I'm not even including the white people. In fact,
mm,
sometimes I even look and I be like, how will Africa, some countries in Africa be today if the colonialists did not leave? And I know people are gonna kill me for saying this.
yeah,
Okay, I'm not saying that it's going to be good, but I don't know. Sometimes I wonder because if you come to some places in Africa, like my country, Nigeria, if you check some of our roads, some establishments, some institutions, some
yeah,
organizations, some railways, some airports and stuff, these places were built during the time of colonialism. It was these white people that colonized us. These white people that we were saying that.
mm, yeah, that's true.
So most of
Yeah,
these things have outlasted what we have today. I'm not saying that
mm,
colonization is good. Colonization is bad. It has a lot
yeah,
of negative effects. It was very, very wrong. But when we look back and compare how life was then to now, sometimes you are left speechless, right? Because now we
yes,
have our countrymen on that seat. We have our own people as the leaders, but yet we are not
yeah,
seeing anything. The country has been stagnated for so long. So many
mm,
One of my questions I'm asking is one question I have. I always ask sometimes when I'm sleeping, I wake up and I'm like covered in sweat and I'm thinking, why is it that when you check all the African countries in the world, all of them, every one of them, none of them are
mm,
competing with world powers today? What is the problem? Why is there always a country that has black people in it? What is the problem? Like, you can't tell me that, okay, this is America, this is UK, this is Germany, this is Russia, this is China, and then this is Gambia, or and then this is Ghana, and then
yes,
they never match. Why? You can't even place them among any. What is the problem?
yeah,
They're not even mentioned in the top 10, top 20, top whatever. What is happening?
mm,
It is always okay. Mention African countries in the world today that are so developed that they are among what we call first world countries or so. Mention. I can't think. I'm thinking here. I'm racking my brain. I can't. But there
I
are
don't think
so
we
many.
have. I don't think we have an African country that's in the first world countries.
Why is that? So are we saying that all Africans are greedy? All African leaders are greedy, even the ones that claim that they were Pan-Africanists, even the ones that claim that they love Africa so much. Even some of these presidents that you'll be like, oh, he was the best man. Look at Julius
Mm,
Nyerere. Nyerere, before he became, I think, the president of Tanzania or stuff, he used to
yeah,
say that socialism is the best kind of socialism is the best kind of economy. That's what is going to work in Tanzania, where
yeah,
everybody, the community owns everything together. Nobody owns things separately. Socialism is the best. Then Tanzania was a great exporter of so many goods. But then
yes.
when Julius Nyerere became the president, in 3 years, Tanzania became a great importer of goods. And then they had to drop socialism and they went back to capitalism. When you check so many African countries, like I don't know why it is always African countries. If you look at even those African countries that are around um I think they're outside of Africa. You have places
Eh,
like Haiti. Look at what is happening in
yes.
Haiti today. Just take a look at it. Is it because the people inhabiting those places have the same color as me? Like, what is the problem? Is it in the mind? Is it in the brain? Is it in
I,
where is it?
I really
South
wish like
Africa,
the people, yeah, people in the comment section, they should literally tell us because now that you think you bring it in that way, I'm like, wait, wait,
yeah,
is
that
it
is
a
why I
black
told you
skin?
from the I don't know. I don't want anybody to go through this video and be like, I'm being this and that. No, I'm just trying to voice out my opinions and I'm having this conversation so that people can tell me if maybe if I'm missing one or two things there, people can set me straight and make me understand that maybe this
Yeah.
is what is actually happening. In the first time I said, when we started this live, I said that aside from the fact that there are white people in South Africa, maybe South Africa wouldn't have been that prosperous today. I'm not saying that South Africa
Mm,
is so prosperous. At least it's doing better than so many African countries. It is doing better.
yes.
It's doing well.
Yes.
It's doing
Yeah.
well. Maybe why is it doing well? Because there are white people there that are helping in the managing of things. And if you go
Yeah.
to South Africa today, you have lived in South Africa.
Yes. Mm, mm,
You have lived in South Africa today
yeah.
before, right? When you go to South Africa, right? You go to the to the supermarket to buy things, or you go to the store or whatever. The meat, the vegetables, the rice, the flour, the corn, all those things that are in the supermarket are being produced by a white man in great
Mm,
quantity. White men are feeding the country. White men are taking care of huge areas of land, and they are kind of cultivating crops, and they are rearing
mm,
animals, and they are producing
mm,
meat that is feeding the country. South Africans, black South Africans, don't care to know where these things are coming from. They just take their
mm,
rand and they go to the supermarket and they'll buy this and they go back home, and and when they get home after eating and enjoying and being full, they will sit down and they will say, ah, the
yeah.
white man is taking our land, and
Yes.
they are being
Yes.
prosperous. They are making wealth with
Yes.
our land. We need to take our land back, and we need to do this. I'm telling you that the day black South Africans will take all their lands and they will start cultivating by themselves, South
Mm,
Africa will start importing goods. South Africa will start
yes.
importing food. South Africa will start importing goods. I'm telling you the facts.
That's true. And you know what's funny? I find it weird or very concerning because majority of the people they would say in the comment section that yes, it's because the white people they have the most resources, they stole the land. We need to remember since 1944, 19, sorry, since 1994, from the ages of Mandela to Thabo Mbeki, now we had Zuma, now
That
we
was
have
the tea.
Ramaphosa. It's a number of black men that have been running the country. What
I'm
are
telling
they
you.
doing for the country that
I'm
they can't take
telling
away from
you.
the whites? What rules can't
Ah,
they do to chase away the whites?
nothing. Nothing.
But I've found something that African presidents are good at. Actually, we can fight African presidents. Hey, 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 hey. But you know what? There's something that African presidents are good at. When it comes to the LGBTQ, they know how to chase away white people and their behaviors.
Oh my god, you're so funny.
They know
And
how
I'm
to
happy
do
for
that.
that.
The
I'm
rest,
happy
when
for
it
that.
comes to minerals, there was white people are stealing our land, white people are stealing our
Mm,
jobs, white people are stealing our
yes.
minerals.
Mm.
We can't kick them. We can't kick them away. We can't. When it comes to LGBTQ, the Americans they must go with their behavior. Hey, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my Oh my god, that's to tell you that they know what they are doing. They are doing
yes,
selective is it I don't know, they are battling selective demons, okay? They know this demon is not what they want, but the other
mm,
demon is actually going to enrich them. The other demon is going to favor them. So that is why
yes,
if we are poor, if we that are living in Africa, if we remain poor, they are happy because they get to steal more. The fact that you
yeah,
are poor means you don't have enough money to send your kids to school. That's because you're poor. And if your
mm,
kids don't actually go to school to get the basic education, they are not actually smart enough to criticize the government. So they are
mm,
happy. If you guys don't have money, ambition, that means you guys are scared of
yes,
us. That means you guys think that we are lords, okay? And they're happy and they continue stealing. Imagine you have a kid, your kid, you have money and you train your kid in school in your country, and maybe your country has good education system, and your kid goes to university and studies political science or studies government
yes,
or studies law or whatever. When your kid is done with school, your kid is going to be able to have the knowledge on how to criticize the government, right? They're
yeah,
going to be smart. They would not be deceived when when the leaders come out and be like, the white man is the reason that nothing is moving in this country. If we tell you
mm,
what we are able to endure when we go for all these kind of summits with other presidents, you will pity us. You don't know what we are doing. We are dying. We are doing everything in our power, but the white people are suppressing us. They are giving us so many laws that are not allowing us to do business good.
yeah,
I know that these things can happen too. I know that these things can happen. There can be laws that are not allowing maybe some people in some areas, not just
mm,
specifically Africans, maybe weaker countries. When
yeah,
you go for businesses, there are things that will not be in your favor because you are not maybe a giant, maybe you're not a very prosperous country, right? But you also have to apply your initiative and only engage in businesses that will favor you some way, right? That is why
yes,
you are a leader. Okay. But these
mm,
African leaders, they will lump everything and they will blame, the white people and say that they are the reason why everything is happening. But I don't know what gives them the morale to do these kind of things. I don't know. I just don't understand. At the end of the day, they are the ones that are not investing in their country. At the end of the day, they are the ones that are embezzling money. There are so
yes,
many public officers that have been caught embezzling money.
mm,
Some of them have been caught with the money, some of them have been
mm,
arrested. But after some time, some of them will just be let go. So them being arrested is no longer a big deal for them. It's
yeah,
normal. They see it as the new normal. It's not there's nothing there.
mm,
At the end of the day, the rule of law does not work on their side. They have this kind of
that's true.
shield that is covering them, right? Even though they do something wrong, for as long as they are rich, for as long as they are elite people in power, nothing is gonna happen. There was one person that embezzled huge fund in Nigeria. Her name, she was then the minister, the petroleum minister. I think her name is Diezani Madweke in Nigeria, right? So she stole so much money, and then when she was called to question, what she did was she packed her bags, sold everything off, and she ran out of the country, and she went to Dominican Republic and she bought herself a citizenship there. And now she said bye bye to Nigeria.
Yeah,
Nigeria, to hell with you. And she's living in Nigeria and in Dominican Republic. And there was another
yeah,
public officer. He embezzled so much money during the COVID-19. There was all this aid that was coming from so many maybe European countries. They gave them money
mm,
to do this, to use this, and help the citizens. And he embezzled all the money. And the day they brought him for questioning, do you know what he did? He was very dramatic. He was very smart in his own actions. He fainted, he slumped. Like they had to revive him and they took him to the hospital, and that was the end of it. It is just like Banana Republic here in some countries in Africa. I'm
it's
telling you.
funny. I find it funny how, do you ever see people in the white countries? They don't have that time to think, or let me rob for from my people, so that when I get caught or when I'm done robbing from them, I'll buy land in Africa. They don't have that nonsense. Only an African leader will embezzle from his country. By the way, all the ministers in Africa, they have citizenship in Europe or in the West.
Of course.
They always
Of
have a backup
course.
plan. They take,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because at the end of the day, we are the ones that are going to take the burn of the situation. We're the ones at the
mm,
receiving end of their foolishness and their nonsense.
mm,
Anyway, this life has gone on for way too long. I was hoping that
yeah,
somebody can give me something, like can give me something challenging, tell me no, you're wrong, Africans are not the only reason why this is happening. I was hoping that somebody can come and tell me no, this is what
yeah,
the white men are doing, the white men are doing this, and the white men I want to know, like, because even I've forgotten so many things I wanted to talk about here. If immediately I leave this live now, I'm going to
mm,
see a video popping up on my YouTube, and they're gonna tell me this is what this white man did, this is what this white man did. They want to colonize you again, they want to do.
yeah,
I'm thinking, what are they doing? Some of these videos, you see some of these videos, they're talking about the fact that maybe a white person came to say an African country, and the white person started up a business, and now he's prosperous, and they will say he's taking our job, he did this. Oh God, I'm like, this is so ignorant on your part to say. This is so ignorant because I don't know. I don't see
yeah,
how they're taking your job. The job was there lying around you when before he
mm,
came. You were not rich before he came.
yes,
Now he came and he saw the opportunity and he invested
mm,
in the opportunity. You're thinking that he has taken something from you. But you, some of
mm,
you, your brothers, your sisters, you are living over here in the West. You are living in um Europe, America, and Asia, and you are doing your business and you're
mm, yeah, yeah,
whereas the top jobs, maybe the managers of these gold mines, the managers of this whatever mine, they are the ones. They are foreigners from foreign countries, but we Africans we
mm,
get to do the worst job and do this and do that. And I'm thinking, you think it is the fault of the white man? You think it is the fault of these foreign miners that are in your country? Nobody
see,
forced you to come and do that job. If these foreign miners come with their own laborers from their country and their laborers are picking this gold, you will complain. You will see,
yes,
why are they coming over there when you have at
yes,
least poor people who can do this for them? But they
mm,
have paid your leaders, they have paid your country
yes,
to give them the opportunity to mine that gold. Okay. Now, if your country, if your leaders are doing what they're supposed to do, if they're doing their job, they're supposed to use that money and put it back into the community so that you, as a poor person, will have a better job that will not allow you to go and be picking those ores, to go and be picking
yes,
those, dangerous
mm,
minerals. Now, these people that come into your country are not supposed to have a better opportunity more than you, right?
mm,
They're supposed to come into your country and look around and be unable to find people so poor enough to go and pick these things, right? Like us, when we go to places like Dubai, when we go to
yes,
places like maybe Lebanon, even Lebanon self, when you go
yes.
there, you want to do menial jobs. The jobs you find
That,
yourself doing are those lowly jobs that everybody have rejected, right? Because when they
yes,
look around in their country, they cannot find any other person that can fit in this job. That is when they give it to you as a foreigner. But when these foreigners come into our country, right, they get to do the best jobs, they get to sit in
yes,
offices, and we that are the bona fide owners of the country, we get to do the menial jobs, we get to pick up their plates after them, we get to call
yeah.
them SARS, Mars, and it is disgusting, but
It
it's
is
not their fault.
disgusting. It,
It is not the fault.
yes, it is not their fault. That's, I
Yes.
think, you see, when you say that, that is when people are gonna be like, yes, yes, yes. But it's not their fault. I don't understand. I was gonna bring this example earlier on. What am I?
Of
What am I?
course.
He came to my country. and he got the worst experience at the airport ever as an African man, as an African man coming to a fellow African country. Tell me why the white people that were passing by, hello, ma'am, hello, sir. Tell me why you go to an expensive hotel and then the customer service is nasty towards you by a fellow
Mhm.
black person. But that same fellow black person, when they see a white person, they want to bow down. I can't blame that on white people.
Telling
I
you.
blame it on me, myself, and I and my own people.
Yeah.
Mm, Africa.
So, my dear, that is it. I just want to thank you for being on this live session. It has been very,
Thank
very
you.
enlightening. Having this
Mm,
discussion with you, it has been so, so, so enlightening. I had wished that so many people would have, joined us in this discussion so we
yeah,
can get to hear from their point of view. Maybe they had something
yeah.
surprising to tell us that we don't know. Maybe, one white man there is controlling the president and doing stuff and they know about it and they are the CIA. But I don't know about it. I'm kind of disappointed that nobody brought up all these kind of challenging things that I see them do on their channels. When I go on some of these channels, I see a lot of ignorant things people are discussing. I'm like, and some of them sometimes I reach out to them. I'm like, can we talk about this? Can you come on my? And then they be like, they will not respond. I'm like, maybe I'm so small of a creator. Maybe that is the reason.
Mm,
But I'm hoping that one day when I get up to maybe 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 subscribers, I will still go back to them and we will have this discussion because I want to know,
yes.
you know, I just want to think out of the box. I want to be able to understand them from their own point of view because I
Yes.
believe that I learn every day. I'm not an island. I learn every day, and I
Yeah.
have learned a lot from your own experience. I was watching some of your videos on your channel, and I was so 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 interested in getting to know more about you and having a
Thank
discussion with
you.
you. I even followed you over to Instagram, and I'm happy
Yes.
that you are here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you for being on the show. And my viewers, that is all for today. If you enjoyed this video, if you're watching it live or you're watching this as a replay, please
Yes.
do what subscribe to my channel, like this video, share, and
Share
I always say, I don't know much. I only
and
just speak.
subscribe.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. Bye.